Alright, let's review the leg dissection. We'll start high on the hip here. Bunch of muscles right up by its butt. Alright, let's just do it in order. Right here. This muscle right here, this one, semitendinosus. This large one right here, biceps femoris. This little strap right on the corner, this is caudofemoralis. This one right here is gluteus maximus. This one right here is gluteus medius. This is tensor fasciae lati. Crazy name. And then this one, it's kind of detached a little bit, but it should be sitting right about there, is sartorius. Okay? Now we want to move down to the leg and move this up a little bit. There we go. Now on the bottom of the leg, let's flip this one up here. This is the dissection we just did. The large calf muscle is gastrocnemius. The small one underneath it is soleus. And then this large muscle right on the front of the tibia is called tibialis anterior. Alright, medial thigh. I gotta make sure my hands aren't in here. Alright, two muscles. This one right here, you can see that it's cut. This is sartorius. The one right below it is called gracilis. I'm going to flip those back and pin those down. Alright, quiet please. Selected, we can see the rest of the muscles. Let's start with the remainder of the hamstrings. Right here is semitendinosus. This is semimembranosus. This one right here is adductor femoris. This one right here is adductor longus. And I don't know that you'll see this on the camera, but there's a little one way in the back down in here called pectineus. Down in there. You'll have to look for it on your cat. If we go to the high side of the medial thigh, we have several muscles here. This one right here that I'm dissecting right there, that is tensor fasciae from the front. Once that's moved out of the way, then you can see three quadriceps muscles. Here we go. This is vastus lateralis that I'm moving out of the way here. This is vastus medialis. And then running straight up and down right there is rectus femoris. Those are the muscles of the medial thigh. Now we do have a few blood vessels here. This one right here is called the great saphenous vein. Don't forget the veins are blue, arteries are red. And if you track that up here, it goes into this big blue one right here. This is the femoral vein. Right next to it is a pink one, that is the femoral artery. And then high in the hip, hold on, let me find it. This one's not dissected. And then right there is the femoral nerve. Alright, here we go. Heart dissection review as we prepare for Thursday and Friday's test. This right here, not part of the heart dissection, but this is the diaphragm right here. Okay? Let's do the heart first. I'm going to pull it towards me. This little guy right here is the right atrium, left atrium. This little depression represents the right ventricle, and then this very muscular side of the heart plus the tip right there is the left ventricle. All right, right atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. And then we have a number of blood vessels to do here. Let's go top of the heart first. Let's do veins. All right. Right here, this is the superior vena cava. And then there are two branches that dump into that. These are the brachiocephalic veins. This one right here is the external jugular vein. And this one right here, not injected, but you can see it stemming off right here. This is the subclavian vein. And there would be one on the other side as well. Below the heart, there's another vein coming up right here, this big blue one. This is the inferior vena cava. Any questions on the veins? Anything? Nothing. All right, let's do arteries. I'm going to loop this out of the way so we can see this. Hopefully you can see this on camera. For the arteries. Coming off of the heart right here is the aorta. Once the aorta passes the line of the left ventricle right here, then it becomes the descending aorta. There are two branches in your cat off of the aorta. This is the brachiocephalic artery. This is the big one, the first one off. Second one off is left subclavian. follow the brachiocephalic up, and there will be 3 branches. They're going to branch at different places, but they'll always be in the same order. First one off to the left. Oh, I can't get my finger out of that. First one off to the left right here is the left common carotid. Second one to branch is the right common carotid. And the last one going over the first rib right here is the right subclavian. Let me do this again. This is left subclavian, brachiocephalic, and then here's the branches. Left common carotid, right subclavian. Those are the blood vessels that you need to know on the heart dissection. Let's do kidney while we're here. Here's what you need to know. This is cake. You need to know the kidney, renal vein. The pink one is the renal artery. This white tube coming all the way down here is the ureter. That dumps into the urinary bladder. And then exiting there is the urethra. That's the urinary tract in boys and girls. Alright, boy cat, you need to know the testy. That's right here. The hood right here. This is the epididymis coming right over this way. It travels up here. There's a little squiggly line in there, and it comes all the way up over here. Let me pull the bladder back. You need to know that this little arch right here is the ductus deferens. Right there, ductus deferens. You got that part? And then you need to know that this right here is the penis. That's boy reproductive parts. Alright, female reproductive parts. Obviously, the opening right here, this is the vagina. Okay? That could be tagged. Now, coming up here is where we get into where the babies come from. There's a central portion right here. This is called the body of the uterus. And then you can see the difference between humans and other mammals is that the uterus generally splits. In us, we would just have one expanded central uterus. So we have the body of the uterus, and then we have the left and right horn of the uterus. These are the horns. You don't have to put left and right, just horn of the uterus. Now when you come up to the end, okay, hopefully this is filming, I can move this tissue. You're going to have to sift through here a little bit, and right there, that little peanut, that is the ovary right there. And then there's tissue that's hooded over the top. You remember this on the testicles. What was hooded over the testicle? Ah, the epididymis. But in the female, it's kind of the same anatomy. Okay, we have the ovary, the reproductive structure, and then hooded over the top is the uterine tube. That's how the egg gets out of the ovary, comes down through the uterine tube, and then tumbles down to the uterus until it's either expelled or it's fertilized. Okay, so let me review real quick. Vagina, body of the uterus, horn of the uterus, ovary, and uterine tube. That's what you need to know on the female. And this body of the uterus, it becomes the vagina when it passes the margin of the pelvis right here. Okay? So it's body of the uterus, and then it'll be vagina the rest of the way out. Any questions?